Now Ayrshire Radio Podcast presents Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Welcome back to Ayrshire Insights with me, Elliot Boyce, and as promised we have a brilliant guest on today's show, and who really is a true local legend. We have Wilma Milligan, who at age 75 should be enjoying retirement, but instead has supported the establishment of food banks across South Ayrshire for over 12 years. Wilma has also been named in the New Year's Honours for services to charity and food poverty, and is now officially Wilma Milligan MBE. Wilma, a massive thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Elliot. Nice to see you.
So before we find out about how it all started, we want to know more about you. So first of all, brown sauce or tomato sauce?
Brown.
Hot sunny day or a cold winter morning?
Oh, a hot sunny day.
And did you prefer a cup of tea or coffee?
Coffee, please.
A wee coffee, there we go. Right, we'll get that sorted for you. Get a coffee in the room.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Now Ayrshire Radio.
So Wilma, where did you grow up?
In the beginning, I was at Lochside, and then we moved to Belmont, then to the High Street. Brought up in the High Street, loads and loads of laughs, great fun in the High Street when my mother was in her own by then. And my first job, official job, was McNinch's the chemist. I was there for 6 years. But I always had to have a part-time job. If I wanted to buy something nice for Chelsea girl, I had to have a job to pay for it because my mother couldn't. So, and then as I got older, I worked in pubs. Then I went to Australia with my beloved Wilma Milligan, and we decided after a year that we would travel round. So we spent 6 years travelling around Australia, stopping and working where we could.
Fantastic. So from your time, so you grew up right here in Ayrshire, and then with your beloved, you then went over and moved to Australia. So when you were in Australia, what jobs were you doing?
Grape picking. We were the only two folk in 99 acres of grapevines. There had been a flash flood beforehand, and there was only Murray and I turned up for this job centre in South Australia. Loads of laughs again, terrified of snakes. We moved on there and stopped at a motel. Noticed we camped in our caravan, and but there was a snake crawled up the toilet.
So for somebody who's terrified of snakes, during your crawled up the toilet, that is the fear, by the way. That is horrible.
And then we moved on. We went right round Australia. It took us 6 years. Could come down through the centre from Alice Springs and ended up back in Adelaide, and then we come home and we had our son back here in Ayr, and then we moved after we had a taxi business at Ogilvy's Taxis it was, although our name wasn't Ogilvy's. But anyway, we went back to Australia when Murray was 2, and Murray got a job up in oil rigs up north, and I was the caretaker in a block of flats. There was more parties in our house than there was in I was supposed to be keeping the folk right, but hey ho.
Was that in Australia?
That was in Australia.
So when did you move back to Ayrshire?
We come back in 1990.
And then from there, what did you do when you moved back here to Ayrshire?
What did I do? We rented a house in Kirkmichael, and I took a part-time job working at Semichem in the warehouse. So I know what it's like to be in a warehouse that's cold and it's wet. We then I saw they were advertising for a new food bank that was opening up, and I thought, a food bank? Anyway, I got the job at the food. I've missed it a bit. I was 20 years with South Ayrshire Council as a carer. That was a big part of my life. How did I manage to miss that out?
I was going to say that's quite a significant part there.
It wasn't like a job because I just loved it. Every day I come out, I had a smile about something. I mean, a wee woman saying to me, "Oh, do you do slats? Do you do blinds?" I says, "Do I do blinds?" "What do you mean?" "Well, I need my blinds opened and I cleaned and my windows done." And I says, "I'll do anything for you that you're wanting." Anyway, she says, "Remember, it's 8 slats." I says, 8 slats? I couldn't even think what she was meaning, but she meant she was 93 and she liked her blinds to be open. 8 slats. So that was, you come out every day with a funny story for somebody, which was just a blessing. I mean, it was a great job.
So from there, so caring, clearly somebody who's always had a caring streak about them, somebody that wants to help people, and probably back then it allowed you when you were caring to have a bit more flexibility than it may do now when things are a bit tighter with carers and stuff. So how did you then go from caring to, I'm surmising, retiring before then looking at establishing food banks right here in South Ayrshire?
Well, after my times and dates are shocking because I'm getting old now, and I saw the advert and I decided, well, I'm just sitting here doing nothing, and there's folk you could do something to help folk. So that's when I applied and started in Maybole. And that's 12 years now. 12
years there. And now, so you've been, obviously, an amazing story. You've been working through it all and helping in the food banks 12 years on, and there's going to be so many stories about that. We're going to find out about the big wins, the biggest lessons, and what your journey's been like in the food banks just after this.
Tune in live every Sunday from 10 a.m. for Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Only on Now Ayrshire Radio.
Now let's talk about the journey. So Wilma, you started 12 years ago. What's made you stay with South Ayrshire Food Banks all this time?
Well, I'm very lucky to have experienced the friendship and the colleagues that we've got, especially in Maybole. Everybody just helps each other, and that's the biggest buzz you can get, to see communities coming together and all trying to help.
So South Ayrshire Food Bank began in Prestwick in 2012. It now operates across South Ayrshire from 10 hubs covering the areas from Girvan to Dundonald. You provide 3-day emergency food plus toiletries, pet food and nappies. Last year, which is absolutely amazing, you provided 3 days emergency food for 7,201 people, a third of which were children. You've got a warehouse in Prestwick where all food donations are brought to be sorted and checked to ensure they're within date. You've got 100 volunteers who give their time to support the operation. That's across the warehouses and the hubs. That is an amazing thing, and it's something that must have grown exponentially over the years to now 12 years on to have such an amazing operation, and 7,201 people it's heartbreaking that so many people need support. What would you say throughout your journey your proudest moment has been?
Well, I think just the fact that you see folk coming in and they don't think they're going to have anything for their dinner the night, and we managed to give them a box and give them support, and it's an amazing journey because I'm not stuck in the warehouse doing a hard job. I'm seeing the faces of folk appreciating what they get, and that's what I enjoy about doing it.
So throughout your time, I mean, 12 years is a long time. There must have been some really heartbreaking things throughout that, but the self-achievement in terms of seeing somebody walk out there who's maybe come in not knowing what you guys offer at the food bank and seeing what they can walk away with. Amazing.
It is, but it's all due to the folk that donate, and that's what we're really so lucky in Maybole because it's a smaller place. Folk are so generous, and you only need to put one call out. I'll say, oh, I'm needing this or I'm needing that, and the next thing, there's bags and bags of stuff.
Now, Wilma, I know that today has been completely outside your comfort zone.
Definitely.
We've been sitting here, so Wilma's been in the studio from 11 o'clock this morning, and I've been having to, you've been asking for everything from brandy to just to calm yourself down, to get yourself through the interview. Now, Wilma, you've said it so long, as much as a very proud thing for you to have the honour of getting an MBE, just at the turn of the year there and being mentioned in it. But that's not why you're here today. You're here today because you really want to promote what is here and how people can support it. Now, if you were to inspire one change in how communities tackle food poverty, what would it be?
I think just everybody sticking together and being kind to each other. Think of your fellow man, and it could be you tomorrow, your car breaks down or your washing machine's broken. You're in a job and you're sitting cosy the now, but you maybe not have savings, and you can come into the food bank and we do everything we can to support you. We've got in Maybole, and it's spread now. We support the local butchers because if we get cash donations, I buy a butcher's voucher for £10, and that supplements the non-perishable stuff that we have to give them in a box. And when I say them, it could be me, it could be you, it could be any of us. So let's just all think about helping each other. I'm not here to promote myself. I'm here to highlight the need for everybody to help each other. That is the main thing. And volunteer if you can. There's loads and loads of volunteers that do a lot bigger things than I'll ever do. And they should be recognised as well. And a wee plug for Simon Bloomfield, who I think nominated me in the first place. He started a garden project in Maybole, and now it's got arms and legs because there's kids who the school go, there's pensioners that are retired and went to work, and then they pass the food produce that they provide to the food pantry at Maybole. So it's a first step, but it's helping. Everybody is helping each other.
And if people are maybe listening this morning, what kind of things
Don't be turned off by now.
Listen, it is an amazing story, and it really is. It's quite damning, I think, when you start reading the statistics, and that's something that a lot of people, and when you're in your house, you're going to your work, you live in a bit of a bubble. You maybe don't know what's going on round about you, but to hear the harrowing numbers of 7,201 people, and on top of that, a third of them being children, to get an emergency 3-day emergency food, it's scary numbers, and it's scary to think that's just South Ayrshire. Do you know what I mean? We're across south, north and east, and that's just South Ayrshire that's affected so deeply by it. Now, talking about kind of getting involved and helping, if somebody, they maybe work all the time, they're a busy person, how can they just support you just by, is it donations? How do they get in touch to help donate to you?
Well, by phoning South Ayrshire Food Bank or going online, you'll get all the details there, and the staff are very good at helping folk and trying to encourage and give it. There's so many things they can do, whether it be going and helping in the hubs, whether it be driving and delivering the orders. We've had so many nice folk giving their time. For example, Harbour, who's an organisation for drug addictions.
Yeah.
And Clive is just a smashing guy. He's like Keith that does this. Keith for Regency Cleaning, and who runs this radio station. He's been an amazing guy for all sorts of help given to local charities, and I just think they should get recognised.
Absolutely. Now, it's an amazing, and a lot of businesses do support. I mean, on the show every single week, this being the business show, we talk to them all, and when you listen to just the amount of things that people do in the background, Harbour is a big mention as well. They get mentioned heavily with it, and it's a great organisation with people that have maybe been in really challenging times and suffer with addiction issues, and then are able to come round the other side, and it's a community feel.
That's the feeling that I get. It's just knowing that folk are trying to help each other. That's a big thing.
So you talk about, I mean, you've mentioned there about different things people can do. Now, there is a website online that you can get, southayrshire.foodbank.org.uk. There's a phone number on it, there's contact forms, and there's an email address. If you are listening and you may need help and you live in South Ayrshire, go on there, have a look, because there's support out there, and that is what it's set up to do. But on top of that, if you're listening and you can donate, you can help, you can maybe offer a little bit of time, just anything whatsoever, do get in touch with the South Ayrshire Food Bank and people at Wilma and all the team. 100 volunteers in there. You could help make a difference. Now, they're asking members of the community to donate food items to the food bank. Over the past year, you've collected 63 tonnes of food and distributed this to people within the community in crisis. That is absolutely amazing. 63 tonnes of food when you think of the scale of that. Is that enough?
Never enough. Never enough, because there's always going to be more folk in crisis because of just the cost of living, electricity and gas. I mean, electricity and gas are the main things that folk are having to, they're running out of money, they can't afford it, and I try not to, there's loads of things I do that I'm not supposed to, but that's just me.
Maybe on the radio's not the best place.
No, listen, I don't care if it helps somebody, then I'm not caring.
Of course, you talk about the other things that you do to help. I mean, out with food.
I don't talk about them, Anne talks about them.
And Anne talks about them, and you do. If looking about the different things that you can do, though, so out with food, what other things do you see people who might be in crisis require, and other things they can help with?
Shoes for their weans, things for their kids, and no big fancy presents, basic and some time. That's what folk need. And I know that's hard if you're trying to make a living to try and cover your cost fare, but just be nice. And if you're, I shouldn't really say this, but I go and collect clothes and pass them on to folk that I think need them. I've had couples that have had to furnish a house with absolutely nothing, and then came and said, "Oh, Wilma, you didn't give me a mirror. That was the only thing it was missing." But that was a compliment, because I just felt, well, there's nothing that they're needing else.
And amazing. And it shows, Wilma, you mentioned to me off air a lot, and you've mentioned regularly in the show, and you mentioned it today, that you don't think, and it's not about you, but
Definitely not.
You are somebody, though, and coming from us and everything that you're telling me here today, you're somebody who has helped make a difference to all of those lives. And I know that's not why you do it. It is not for you, but you have made a difference, and that's where the honour in the Wilma Milligan MBE has come about, and you can completely understand when that application went in, why you've been given that. Now, we've heard about the listeners' tenner bargain of the week, but up next, we're going to do it slightly different with you, right? Because I think it's important to get positive messages across. So whilst you can supply emergency food, there's some other things that you can do and find out what other bargains can be available for people that can maybe support them in South Ayrshire, and hopefully beyond as well with the other Ayrshires, which I know is not part of you, but there is other things out there across Ayrshire.
Now streaming
Ayrshire Insights, hosted by Elliot Boyce.
This is Now Ayrshire Radio.
And now we are looking for you to let us know. So normally we do the bargain of the week and the listeners get in touch, but for this one I think it's a little bit different because of the things that you do. So you mentioned something earlier about the pantry. Can you talk to us about that and how that can support people here in Ayrshire?
Well, the food pantries in Maybole, they receive a lot of their fresh goods from the food garden that Simon Bloomfield started up. And what we do is that supplements the non-perishable food that we're able to give them. Folk are able to come in on a Tuesday or a Thursday to the Carrick Centre, and there's fresh produce, and they're involved with an organisation that runs the food pantries. So with me at the food bank, I'll give them a voucher. When I say give them, I don't mean as if, I just mean the customers that come in. Mm-hmm. And we give them a food. The food pantry is you get 10 items for £4. And my philosophy is try to give folk a bit of dignity. If I give them a voucher the first time and they go and see what they can get, then it encourages them. I say, if you could just keep £4 off your money when you get it, you can come into the food pantry and get a lot more fresh stuff. And it's been a great success because our numbers have went down in the food bank because these folk are starting to feel a bit of dignity by being able to buy their own food.
Fantastic. So if you're out there and you're maybe struggling, you've not been at the food bank, but you do have £4 to spare, then the food pantry could be there. And 10 items, what kind of items do you get as part of that?
It depends what food share they deliver, because the food pantry have got to, they're a charity as well, and they've got to buy the subscription from the Care and Share. And they're, what would I say?
So they buy it.
They buy it, and then they could be chicken, they could be steaks, even.
Yeah, whatever it may be.
Aye, it's a potluck that they get, but it's all good fresh stuff.
It's amazing, good fresh stuff, just £4, and that can get you up to 10 items. There is things out there. Now, for somebody who's so involved in the local community, what would you say that local feeling means to you?
It's the best feeling in the world to think that you've helped somebody. I mean, there's not a day I don't get a laugh with a customer, or if they've got a sad story, you're there to listen. And hopefully we spread the word about them and just try and help. Be kind to each other, that's my motto.
Absolutely. Now, just to give everybody a quick shout on it, because I know you've given us a list of some things here that you're always looking for. So you are a self-funding local charity and have a lot to thank for the funding that you get from running costs and different. We're grateful for the supporters that give you food, may even give you some money donations, which they can do on the website. There's a Just Giving link on the website. Just search South Ayrshire Food Banks if you want to donate. But on top of that, things that are important for you guys is things like chopped tomatoes, jars of pasta sauce, instant mash or tinned potatoes, microwavable or boil in their bag rice, tinned vegetables, tinned custards, rice pudding, tinned fruit, jam and coffee. If you've got any of those things and you can spare those things, then please do donate to South Ayrshire Food Banks. But on top of that, if you do live in North and East Ayrshire, there is food banks there, so anything you can do to help, because I'm pretty sure it will be the same need across the Ayrshires.
Definitely. And it's only one tin of beans, although I shouldn't say beans because we ended up with a whole warehouse of beans and soup when it was the pandemic. But anything that you can spare, so there's no restriction, just we're grateful for anything to pass on.
Fantastic. Right, we're going to finish with a strong fun round and find out what's next for Wilma just after this.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast with Elliot Boyce.
It is now time for 5 fast ones. I don't want you to think about it, just shout out the first answer that comes into your head. Are you ready?
Okay.
Right, your favourite takeaway?
Or Chinese.
Song that always lifts your mood? You forgot the name. Cry to Me.
Oh.
Here you go, you've remembered it now. We did speak about this. Best thing about Ayrshire?
The folk in it.
The funniest story which has happened in the food bank over the 12 years?
Well, I shouldn't really laugh at it because it is serious, but this guy came in at Christmas time and he had a Christmas card for me and 5 presents. And I said, it was all the best of gear, but unfortunately he'd shoplifted it.
It's a local shoplifter giving a donation to the food bank. The last one, who plays you in a movie of your life?
Oh, Lady
Gaga. Her Eyes Off a Still Game.
That's it. I think it's Eyes Off a Still Game.
There we go. That was the me we did. There we go. Thanks for playing 5 fast ones. We're going to be asking our guests every single week to get involved. Listen, Wilma, you've been fantastic today. Now, I want to know, what is next for you? What's next for Wilma?
I'm going home to my bed.
After this today?
No, I just want to thank everybody. But while I'm fit enough to do it, I'm happy to do the food bank because you couldn't get a bigger buzz than seeing somebody walking out with a big bag of shopping that they never thought they would have. You can't beat that. No,
amazing. And it's amazing what you've done for 12 years, and I'm sure that will continue. It goes on. What would one thing you would hope for Ayrshire's future?
Well, could I just make a correction? I didn't start the food bank. I just volunteered once it had started, but
yep.
I started up in Maybole. I was first there, but being first doesn't matter. It's just establishing what we did. Amazing. And it's the drivers, everybody that volunteers is just, they're great. They really are. And please volunteer, not just for the food bank. Go and volunteer in something you would like to do. Make some old women or old man's day happy. There we go. Now, final shout outs. Who would you want to say hello to before we finish up here today? A big thank you. Well, obviously Simon that put me forward, but I really would like to thank the radio station for having me, although I was dead nervous. But thanks, Keith, you're on holiday, but you've taken the time to tune in here, so thanks for all your help. Big shout. He's in the hot Tenerife, but also, as you mentioned there, a massive thanks to everyone who's been involved with South Ayrshire Food Bank, and also that goes out to everybody. I'm going to do the call to action one more time. If you can help, and you've got food banks across the full of Ayrshires, but with Wilma being here, we'll tell you, so southayrshire.foodbank.org.uk if you're based in South Ayrshire. If not, you can just do a quick Google search, have a look at North Ayrshire Food Bank and also East Ayrshire Food Banks. There is lots there that you can do to help, whether it's volunteering, donating food or giving your time. Wilma, massive thanks for coming on the show today. No, thank you.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast.
Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe now.